Hey, everybody. My name is Zach Pasquarello. I started my bookkeeping business 5 years ago, and I built it up to the point where now I have 70 bookkeeping clients and I make $35,000 per month just from my bookkeeping business. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how I do it, how I got started, how I continue to run every day, every week, every month, how I manage 70 bookkeeping clients per month and make $35,000 per month. So I'm going to start off by talking about how I onboard new bookkeeping clients, how I schedule recurring work, how I use QuickBooks Online and cloud storage to streamline communication, how I prioritize tasks so I stay focused on high value activities, and how I track revenue, pricing, and profit per client so the business remains healthy. So let's just jump right into it. Let's get started. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can ask questions. I'm going to go through my notes first, hopefully give you all some tips and strategy and tricks, and then I'm going to answer everybody's questions. So the more questions you ask, the longer I'll stick around. So ask as many questions as you possibly can. If you're watching the replay on my YouTube channel, I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. And then if you're listening to my podcast on Apple or Spotify, you can also find me on YouTube under the same name, Bookkeeping Expert Zach Pasquarello. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Apple Podcast, and Spotify Podcast. Let's talk about onboarding new bookkeeping clients. So, in order to get 70 clients, obviously you have to get your first client, and then you have to get your fifth client, and your 10th client, and your 20th client, and your 40th client, and then things grow pretty quickly. But getting your first few clients, I'm not even going to talk about sales and marketing. I talk about that enough. I talk about that in other videos. I'm going to talk about what do you do after you get your first client, after you get your first 20 clients. How do you manage that workflow? How do you manage all that work and keep up with all those tasks? Onboarding clients needs to be super efficient. It needs to be easy for you, and it also needs to be easy for your clients. I'll be honest, I did not have a good strategy or a good process when I was just getting started, but that's to be expected because I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have videos like this to teach me. So that's kind of the whole point. That's why I make these videos. Hopefully, you can learn from my mistakes and fast track to success by using some of my strategies. Onboarding clients. So, sales call, quote, they agree to the quote. As soon as they agree to the quote, next steps, I send them my client agreement and I send them the invoice. I just want them to pay the invoice. And then, of course, they should sign the client agreement. Almost everybody ends up signing the client agreement, obviously. But just as important, if not more important, pay the invoice. Here's the key: don't start working until they pay your invoice. You're going to find, I know it seems crazy, you're going to find some clients who go through the sales call, accept your quote, maybe even sign your client agreement, but then for whatever reason, never pay the invoice. Maybe they just get cold feet. They decide they don't want to do it. Maybe money's tight. I don't know what it is, but it happens. So protect yourself. Don't start working until they pay their first invoice. If I'm doing a big cleanup project, I will require 100% payment upfront. But when I was getting started, I did 50-50. That seems like a pretty good place to start if you have no experience, if you don't have a long standing reputation in your community with being a good bookkeeper, which not saying you're not a good bookkeeper, but you just don't have the reputation yet because you don't have the experience. Totally understandable. You might want to just charge 50% upfront, 50% when the project's complete. Try to charge 100% upfront. Send them the invoice, get paid. Perfect. Now I'm going to start working. If it's not a cleanup project, if it's just monthly, still same concept. If you want me to start November 1st, I'm going to send you the invoice for November. You pay the invoice, then I'll start working. Once they sign the client agreement, I create a recurring invoice in QuickBooks to be sent to the client every month. And then I add them to my tracker. So I have a monthly, weekly tracker. All my clients who I service. Now, this wasn't a big deal, but I actually, when you have less than 5 clients, you can remember all of your clients. You don't need a tracker. You don't need a spreadsheet. You don't need help managing 5 clients. I did the same thing. Whenever I was first getting started, I just did it. You just do the work, right? You just log into the 5 you could probably do their bookkeeping every day if you really wanted to, or even once a month if you really wanted to, and probably get it all done in one day. Super simple, not too bad. But what I would encourage you to do, implement systems now that will allow you to grow. start acting now like you would if you had 20 clients. So get organized now. That way, as you grow, you can just add to your systems that you already have in place. I'd much rather you start doing this now than wait until you're overwhelmed and stressed out and frustrated and need to implement the systems whenever you have 10 or 20 clients. So do it now. Even if you only have a couple clients, get an Excel spreadsheet, have a tracker. It can just be super simple. The client's name, maybe the client's email address, maybe what type of industry they're in. And then for me, now that I have 70 clients, I split it up every week. So I schedule my recurring work so that I don't miss out on any of my clients. So if I have 70 clients, divide that by 5, whatever that number is. What is it, like 10 or 15? So 14 or 15 clients every single day. So every day I'm logging into QuickBooks for 15 clients. I'm not doing all 70 every day. That's really the key. I touch my clients' books once per week. No more, no less. Every client gets assigned a day of the week, and that's what the tracker is for. So as soon as I onboard a new client, I add them to my tracker, and they get assigned a day of the week. They get either a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 1 means Monday, 3 means Wednesday, 4 means Thursday. You get the idea. So today, Wednesday, I only did the bookkeeping for my Wednesday clients. At the end of the month, when it's time for month end close on Wednesday, the first Wednesday in December, I'm only going to close the books for my Wednesday clients. This is how I manage my workload, manage my stress. It's much easier and much more manageable looking at 10 or 15 clients in one day instead of trying to look at 70 clients all in one day. Obviously, that would be very overwhelming and very stressful. So if you're just getting started, pick a day of the week for each client. And this is really important. Even if you only have 5 or 10 clients, I guess you have a couple options. You could maybe do 1 or 2 clients per day, or you could just do all 5 clients in one day. Either way, come up with a system, because what I want you to try to do is consistently do marketing throughout the entire process. And you're going to consistently do marketing by consistently keeping up with your bookkeeping. So delivering high quality customer service, actually doing the bookkeeping, is the most important part. That's always priority number 1. You always want to make sure you're doing a good job with your current clients, because you don't want to lose your current clients. If you do a good job, your current clients will refer you out to other people and your business will just naturally grow. Priority number 1, deliver high quality customer service. So I want you to do that first, but then the rest of your day, if you have less than 5 clients, you probably have 7 hours every day you could devote to sales and marketing. So have your tracker, have your weekly, monthly workflow, get your bookkeeping done first, and then hit sales and marketing the rest of the day. Create content, friend request people, connect. I just made a video yesterday. If you didn't see it, definitely go check it out. I just made a video yesterday all about LinkedIn and how I use a LinkedIn Sales Navigator every day to grow my investment fund, Zip Capital, but also it could apply to how you grow Harrisburg, your bookkeeping business. So schedule your recurring work so that you can operate efficiently. And also you want to have the tracker, just as importantly, so that you don't forget about any of your clients. I know it might seem crazy. You only have a couple clients. You're like, forget about my clients. How would I ever do that? That's impossible. But as you grow 20, 40, 80 clients, you will forget about some clients. So have the tracker and then take notes every week that you do their books. Just make a note. That way at the end of the week, you can check, did I check in to everybody's QuickBooks this week? Yep. Everybody is marked complete. All good for this week. And then month end close, have 3 categories. Transactions categorized, accounts reconciled, financial reports, profit and loss. Did you send the client the profit and loss? There's 3 steps to month end close, 3 broad generic steps. Of course, some clients might have very specific steps. Like for some clients, you might need to, reconcile the prepaid expense account or do a journal entry to tie out the payroll wages and payroll taxes. So I'm not saying have a tracker for every little detail, for every task, for every client, but generally speaking, transactions categorized, accounts reconciled, reports sent. And then during month end close, you have your tracker, and then you can tick off, you can mark complete every client, every step of the way. Obviously, I talk a lot about QuickBooks Online. That's what I use. I only operate in QuickBooks Online, and that also helps me manage my 70 bookkeeping clients. If I was all over the place with Wave and Zero and Peach and I don't even know other accounting softwares, there's probably nothing wrong with them, but I just don't want to learn 5 different types of accounting software because QuickBooks Online in and of itself super complicated. So if I was trying to learn 5 other accounting softwares, I would be very stressed out, overwhelmed, frustrated, and just as important, more important, probably not doing a very good job. So I only work with QuickBooks Online. I don't even work with QuickBooks Desktop. I only work with QuickBooks Online. That enables me to be a QuickBooks Online expert and work really efficiently. So I can work very quickly and I can also solve everybody's problems. So QuickBooks Online is my personal preference. And then also the services that I provide. I only do bookkeeping. Once again, that enables me to be a bookkeeping expert and that enables me to work very quickly. I'm not overwhelmed trying to learn payroll and sales tax and budgeting and forecasting and everything else that could go along with accounting services. I'm just doing bookkeeping. I also use cloud storage so that I don't receive paperwork. Imagine if all 70 of my clients came to my office and dropped off a shoebox of receipts and printed out bank statements. Obviously, that would be insane. I operate out of my home office here. It's a little 10-foot by 10-foot room in my house, very small. I do not want all 70 clients dropping off paperwork every month. That would not be sustainable. That would not be efficient. So instead, I leverage Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, cloud storage so that my clients can digitally, electronically upload their documents and their receipts and their files to the cloud so that I can have access to them from the comfort of my own home, from my computer, without people needing to come to my office. That also means that I can service clients all over the country. That also means I can service clients if I go on vacation or if I travel. If I want to travel to the beach for the whole summer or for an entire month in the winter or go anywhere in the world, I literally can because everything is done virtually, remotely on the internet. A couple more points here. Prioritize tasks. So, especially during month end close, especially during year end close, there's going to be a lot of things that pop up. Prioritize tasks. Let me give you a couple examples. Year end close and 1099s. So in January, you're probably going to be stressed out like every other bookkeeper and accountant in the entire world. January, hardest month of the year, in my opinion, for bookkeepers. The first week of January, I do month end, year end close. I close out December, I close out the year in QuickBooks. And then the second week in January, I do 1099s. That way, I'm not trying to do both at the same time. That way, I'm not trying to do 1099s and do year end close in the first week of January. I don't even touch 1099s until the second week of January. Sales tax. I do file sales tax for a couple of my clients, although I don't recommend doing it. But as an example, I don't file sales tax in the first week of the month because I already have enough tasks to do. So I try to spread out my monthly recurring tasks. So I have a recurring email that gets sent to myself on the 10th of every month. So once I'm done with month end close, then I can process sales tax for the 3 or 4 bookkeeping clients who I do that for. Also, prioritizing tasks, recurring emails. There's a lot of tasks. Almost every task that we have to do as a bookkeeper is a monthly or a quarterly or a weekly recurring task. So I have an email that gets sent to myself for every recurring task. This is very important. I don't do the calendar time blocking that some people do, but instead I live and die through my email inbox. So my email inbox acts as a to-do list for the day, acts as a list of tasks that need to get done every day. As an example, I manage cash flow for one of my clients very loosely, very casually, not super strict. I basically update all of their cash accounts and their credit card balances on a daily basis. So, as a very specific example, every 4 p.m., I have an email that sends to myself, a recurring email at 4 p.m., and it reminds myself to update the cash flow tracker for this client. So I get the email at 4 p.m. I know every day it doesn't slip through the cracks. I don't forget about it. I prioritize it at the end of the day and I send a recurring email to myself and I get it done. I don't forget. That's one of the most important things. People hire us because they are struggling to keep up with their administrative tasks like bookkeeping. So we need to be organized. We need to manage our own time, and we need to be able to get those tasks done daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually without them reminding us. So that's the thing. We are outsourced bookkeepers. So we are the experts. So we remind them what needs to be done, not the other way around. The clients are not managing us. We are managing the books for the clients. So it's up to us to remind them what needs to be done. That's about it. I have my last bullet point here: track revenue, pricing, and profit per client so the business remains healthy. I didn't do this in the beginning, but I do think it's a really good idea. Track churn. Track churn. So figure out when you get a client, record when you lose a client, and then look to see how many clients you had at the beginning of the year, and then how many of those clients you still have at the end of the year. That will enable you to track your churn. It's really important. You want to see on average how long do clients stick around. And then also I think it's really helpful to track your monthly revenue. I talk a lot about my monthly revenue. I know exactly what it is. My clients on average pay $500 and I have 70 clients. So I know for a fact I make $35,000 every month, monthly recurring revenue. So track your clients, who you have, how much they pay, also so that you can increase their price. Every 12 months, I increase the price for all of my clients, usually 5%, maybe 10% if the client grew a lot, or if things changed, or if I underquoted them in the beginning, maybe I'll do a 10% price increase. But increase your client's price by 5 to 10% every year. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Do it early and do it often. Do it every single year. Okay, let's see if anybody's watching. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Perfect. We've got 60 people watching live right now on YouTube. So, hey, first of all, for everybody watching, thanks so much for your support. Really, really appreciate it. Now let's get to the questions. Let's see what people are talking about. I'm going to be on for like 10, 15 more minutes. So if you have any questions, ask them now and I'll do my best to answer everybody's questions. Real quick, last update before I get to the questions. Briefly, I'll mention this video is sponsored by Zip Capital. I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns to accredited investors. I manage an investment fund. I'm not trying to grow Harrisburg bookkeeping anymore. I'm managing my 70 clients. I'm actually not accepting any new bookkeeping clients. I am, however, trying to grow Zip Capital, my investment fund. I do real estate lending. I lend to real estate investors. Long story short, I learned about it by accident by doing bookkeeping for real estate investors. Started lending my own money in 2023, grew in 2024. Now I have $4 million lent out, and I'm trying to get to $5 million. So if you have $25,000 or more and you want to invest in Zip Capital, there's a link down below in the description of the podcast or in the video. You can register on my website and we can chat. I'd love to just meet you and see how we can work together. Okay, let's talk about the questions. Chili Davids 2037. Hey, Zach, when doing a catch up, do we still need to ask the client for the payroll summary account for all the past months? No, I would say if you're doing a whole year catch up or cleanup, you can just do a payroll and journal entry at the end of the year to adjust wages and taxes and maybe accrued payroll wages. You don't need to do it every single month. Just do it once per year. And then once you get caught up on the cleanup project, then moving forward monthly, you can update it. J Lip, hey, Zach. I was wondering if you use the same $3 per transaction model when quoting some for a year of cleanup. Yes, same process. When I just got started, I did $2 per transaction. And then about 2 years into my business, I increased to $3 per transaction. I'll be honest, I did not really see a big change in people accepting my quote. So on average, my clients pay $500 per month. So you can kind of use that as a general guideline. I've got a couple clients who pay $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. Majority of my clients are right around that $500 mark. So if you're quoting somebody $2 or $3 per transactions and it's way below or way above 500, maybe you could adjust it a little bit, but truthfully, the majority of the time I stick to my $3 per transaction. Amber, hi, Zach. Thanks for all your awesome videos. What month end package do you normally send to your clients? Only the profit and loss. More specifically, profit and loss by month. So I send them the P&L by month, which is just a simple report that you can generate in QuickBooks. And it's really cool because it shows every month, January through November, January through December, whatever month. It shows like a month by month progress so that your clients can really see where they're growing, where they're struggling. I think it's super helpful. Zach, thank you for your transparency with every aspect of your work. We appreciate you. Shelby McLean, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for your support, Shelby. This is a lot of work, as you can probably imagine. Going live every day, making this content is a ton of work. So, truthfully, I'm doing it to promote Zip Capital, but also a part of me is also doing it because I enjoy doing it. There are a million different ways that I could promote Zip Capital. This seems to be working, and it's also really fun for me. So I really like interacting with you and answering your questions and helping you. So I appreciate your support because it is a lot of work, but I do enjoy doing it. David, what insurance do you use for errors and omissions? Hartford. Hartford Insurance. Do you recommend getting any other type of insurance? That's the only type that I have, but your situation might be different. I think they threw in general liability and it was like not any more expensive. But yeah, I have errors and omissions for the past 5 years. I've never had to use it. Thank God. Hopefully I never have to use it, but I do have it just in case. Amanda Rose Kelly, how do you keep track of all the unique things each client needs monthly, like prepaid expenses, square fees, inventory adjustments, etc.? Do you request this info monthly when you request statements? Yes. So I do two different things. If I need information from the client, then I will add it to the monthly email. So I send emails to myself, but I also send monthly emails to my clients. On the first day of every month, I'll send them an email saying documents needed. Please send me your most recent bank statement. And in that email, if there's other information that I need, I will also include it in that email. So I'll say, please send me last month's bank statement. Please send me last month's credit card statement, the Amex and the Capital One. Please send me the loan for the F-150 and the, I don't know, the Escalade. And then also please send me your inventory amount at the end of last month. So I will, if I need, or please send me last month's Square report. That way, it's up to the client. It's the client's responsibility to send me that information. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. There's nothing I can do. The only thing I can do is request the information. If I don't get it, I can't update QuickBooks correctly. So at the end of the year, their books aren't going to be complete until I get that information. Now, if it's something that I could do on my own, I will just send myself an email reminder. Like a really good example, I have a specific client who is on accrual, and they track they're a real estate investor, pretty big, and they track their prepaid expenses. So on the first day of every month, I have a recurring email that goes to me directly, only me, and it says update for prepaid expenses for the client's name. So yes, I keep track of unique things like that on a monthly basis by using recurring emails. Honestly, that's how I do it. Recurring emails is my best friend. That's how I keep track of it. David, glad to join you live today. Loved your recent post about the more you make, the more you give. Amen, brother. Christ be glorified. Absolutely. So I am, without getting too much into it, I am a big fan recently of radical generosity. I have acquired a lot of money over the past 2 years, and it doesn't really make me feel any different. So I have a nice house. I have 2 vehicles. I've got 5 kids. We are all living very safely and happily, and I've got a lot of money. And so over the past 2 years, I just kind of decided, instead of saving a bunch of money, why not try just being radically generous, and we'll see what happens. So this year, specifically in April of 2025, my wife and I made a pretty big decision for the next 2 years to make a really serious commitment to giving back a significant portion of our wealth back to our church. So we're about 7 months into it. And I'll be honest, it's not easy. It is not easy to do every month, to make that donation every single month, but it's an act of trust. It's an act of worship. It's, for me, it's a way that I can put my faith in action and trust God with the resources and the gifts that He has blessed me with. So it's kind of me acknowledging and recognizing the fact that my business, my success is not because of me, but it's only because He has blessed me with the ability to grow my business to the point where I've been able to save a ton of money. So because of that, I recognize that, and I'm trying to just simply be a steward of the gifts God has blessed me with. So appreciate you bringing that up, and appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about that. Next question. Any tips for finding and partnering with a CPA or a tax pro? I would look at it the same way that you look at getting clients. So it's recruiting, it's advertising, it's marketing, it's outreach. So the same way you look for bookkeeping clients, look for CPAs to partner with. So go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, search for people, connect with them, engage with them, send them a message. It's the exact same concept. It's a numbers game. You can't so you don't expect to message 10 potential clients and get a client, right? It's the exact same concept with partnering with a CPA. You can't expect to just call 3 or 4 CPAs and all of a sudden you get a phenomenal partner to work with. It doesn't work like that. It's a numbers game. You got to reach out to 50 CPAs before you find one to partner with. So treat it just like you would anything else: marketing, sales, engagement, connecting, direct marketing, direct messaging. Treat it the same. Wouldn't the 1099s be easy because you flag those vendors as 1099 recipients during monthly bookkeeping? Yes, Mike, it would be easy if my clients gave me the 1099s that I asked for throughout the, sorry, it would be easy if my clients gave me their W-9 throughout the year. But a lot of times, whenever I request W-9s from my clients, contractors, and vendors, I don't get them. So I'm stuck at the end of the year with a long list of vendors who I never got a W-9 for. So I'm usually sending a final list to my clients and saying, hey, if you want me to process these 1099s, then I'm going to need their W-9. And also, I get a lot of clients throughout the year. So if you get a client in June, no telling what happened January through May. So there might be some missing information, but it should get easier, hopefully, every year that you work with the same. That's why it's so important to deliver high quality customer service. If you can keep these clients, then the bookkeeping just becomes automatic and it gets so much easier moving forward. You got to keep your clients. I love keeping my clients. It seriously just makes it so easy. Like I am managing 70 clients right now and it's not on autopilot. It's not like I have literal robots and AI doing all the work. I don't have overseas outsourced bookkeepers doing all the work. I am still doing all the work, but I know how to do it. I've worked with these people for a long time. All the systems are in place. I know exactly what to do every month, every year. Keeping your clients is so important. So hopefully 1099s should get easier and easier every time you keep a client. I've had referrals come to me in the last few weeks, says Sarah Foster, but I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong. No one is hiring me after our meeting. Sarah, it's a numbers game. Don't get discouraged. You're going to have 10 or 15 meetings before you actually get your first client. Or maybe you get lucky and maybe your second meeting turns into a client. So I heard a really, really amazing quote yesterday. Don't focus on the outputs. The outputs are you getting clients. What happens as a result. The outputs, the outcomes, the results. Don't focus on that. Instead, focus on the inputs. So don't even focus on meetings booked. Focus on your marketing every day, your connection requests, your friend requests, your engagements. Focus because you can't control how many clients you get. So there's literally no point in stressing about outcomes that you can't control. The only thing you worry about are inputs, the work that you do that you can control. I'm telling you, I promise you, this mindset shift will quite literally change your life. Focus on what you can control, focus on the inputs. That's what's going to drive the outputs or the outcomes. So just come up with a list of what you want to do, what you should do every single day, and then do it for 30 days. And then increase it. Do more the next 30 days and then do more. And so now you've been doing it for 90 days. Now look back to see what you've been doing, make it better for the next 30 days. Make it better for the next 30 days. Now, all of a sudden, you're 6 months into this thing. You're doing more volume than you were before, and you're doing it better than you were before. Continue that cycle. Look at me as a perfect example. I'm making a live video every day. I'm making a short video every morning. I'm making a short video every afternoon. I'm doing a social media post every morning. I post throughout the day on Facebook. Right now, I'm doing more. And then soon, right now, I'm trying to make it better. So if you haven't noticed, I've been switching my afternoon, evening posts. I've been trying to do more vlog style, short 60-second videos with a voiceover. I don't know. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not, but I'm doing more. I'm trying to get better. And then maybe you start doing new stuff. So focus on the inputs, don't focus on the outputs or the outcomes. But Sarah, you're on the right track. You're doing a great job. I feel like a lot of these people think my pricing is too high. It's not. It's not too high. You just haven't talked to enough people. Trust me. Shell, Stir, Curious, how do you pay yourself when you're just starting out? If you only have one client, you really can't do payroll right. You don't, if you're a single member LLC, not taxed as an S Corp, you don't need to be on payroll. There's no point. You don't need to be on payroll. All you have to do is just transfer money as you need it. If you're a single member LLC, just operating as like an owner operator, you don't need to put on yourself on legit W-2 payroll. You can just transfer money from your business bank account to your personal bank account to pay your personal bills. How that $3 per transaction and $500 per month come up, how to calculate pricing, it's really, really simple. Count their transactions. Bank accounts, credit card accounts, count their transactions. Average it out per month, multiply it by 3. And you can count their transactions by looking at their bank statements and credit card statements or looking at their QuickBooks account. Next question. True Clavier. Hi, Zach. Do you use AI to help you with your bookkeeping process? No. Pretty simple. Nope, I don't. The only thing I use AI for is to help me come up with ideas or sometimes help me come up with messages to send to clients or responses to emails, or I'll use it to improve some of my messages, but I don't really use it for actual bookkeeping. The only thing I really use is the automation. It's not really AI, it's more so automation. QuickBooks Online rules. So I will use the rules and I will just make a simple rule like, I don't know, the bank text is Amazon. And then any bank transaction that shows up in the QuickBooks bank feed will get automatically recorded using the QuickBooks rules towards Amazon, I don't know, office supplies or job supplies. But I really don't use any AI to help with the bookkeeping process. Zach, thank you for all you do. I'm starting a new bookkeeping business because of you. Is it wise to set up an LLC first? Yes, absolutely. LLC, business bank account, EIN, just get it set up now. Website, Google My Business, social media profile, get it all set up now. You might as well. I hear you said last time it is better to use bank deposit instead of undeposited funds. How about the client collects and do not deposit right away? How do you match the deposit with the invoice? So if the client collects payment and then truthfully does not deposit it right away, then I would probably use undeposited funds. So you've got an invoice, mark it as paid on November 19th, put it in undeposited funds. And then when they go to the bank, maybe next week on Monday, then you mark it as a bank deposit 5 days later. Thank you for taking a moment to talk about it, Zach. Praise God. Absolutely, David. Do you do a lot of manual entry? No, I do not do a lot of manual entry. I very rarely do manual entry. As a matter of fact, the only time I would ever do manual entry is if it's a non-cash transaction, like prepaid expenses, unearned revenue, or maybe a finance chart, like splitting interest and principal on a monthly loan payment, but very rarely do I do manual entry. Is bookkeeping an oversaturated market right now? Yes, 100%. But it's oversaturated with bookkeepers, but it's not oversaturated with good bookkeepers. There's a big difference there. And who cares if there's a ton of competition? If there's a ton of competition, that just means that a lot of people need our services. There are millions of realtors out there. There's also millions of failed realtors out there. But what separates a successful realtor from a failed realtor is not the supply and demand curve. That has nothing to do with it. What differentiates between a successful realtor and a failed realtor? Two things. They never gave up. The successful realtor never gave up, and they were consistent and they worked hard and they got better and they did more and they tried new things and they looked at the data and they tracked the numbers and they were consistent a little bit more and they had perseverance and they overcame adversity. So Yes, absolutely. The market is oversaturated with bookkeepers, but it's not oversaturated with good bookkeepers. Remember that. Think about that. Think about that when you're feeling like giving up. Just know that right now you are experiencing a situation where most people do give up. And that's why there are a lot of failed bookkeepers because what you're going through right now is hard. Absolutely. And most people will give up. But if you want to succeed, if you want to make it further than most people, you need to persevere when most people want to give up. So just remember that. How do you figure out what to add in the terms of service or privacy notice in your website? I'm a new entrepreneur and trying to figure that out and biz insurance, etc. Listen, when it comes to that kind of stuff, there's no perfect answer. If you ask 10 attorneys, they're all going to give you a different answer. So you just got to do your best. Just pick something, look at other people's websites, figure out what other people are doing, ask ChatGPT. I don't know, hire a lawyer, hire an attorney if you really want to, hire a coach, hire a mentor. Don't get hung up on that kind of stuff. Just do your best. Try to have integrity, try to be honest, try to follow the rules, try to be legal, try to be compliant in all things that you do, but don't get so hung up on that stuff that you have paralysis by analysis. So just do your best, use ChatGPT, hire an attorney, look at other people's websites and just put something out there and try to do your best. Seriously, don't get caught up on that stuff. Okay. Well, we are past the 30 minutes. So I see there's a couple more questions. Unfortunately, I got to hop off. I got 70 bookkeeping clients to manage, and I've got a $4 million real estate debt fund, Zip Capital. So if you want to join my investment fund, if you want to invest in Zip Capital, there's a link down below. You can register on my website. Thank you all so much. God bless. Have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.